right, we are back for another session of Homebase Live. We will give it a second, let people start to funnel in, and then we will get started in about 5 minutes or so.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Thank you for having us.
Of course, we're back. Can't get enough of it. Can't keep Homebase off live stream. Come on now. All right, I'm going to show you guys the live link that you can share with people if you want people to join. All right, let's give it another minute, and then I say let's get her started.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hey, Zach, how was the Inner Life workshop, by the way? How did it go?
Oh, it was fun. So we had a whole bunch of robotics students there. So it was a
Oh,
little bit
no
more
way.
like the audience was a little bit more advanced than
Sick. You had people
than
doing
I'm used
hardware?
to. But right now they're playing around with a series of Raspberry Pis uh, at the uh, at the warehouse that we worked on.
Oh, that is sick. Yeah, we had this guy who was building this like sort of container product for code. It was like one of the most interesting things. I don't even quite understand it, to be honest, but it's something that I'm gonna have to have Dylan explain to you. It was very interesting.
So I'm hyped for it. I think it's really cool talking with like non-Web3 people about
Hmm.
how exactly Web3 can play, such as the robotics students. A lot of times they have a series of network nodes that are either at MIT
Hmm.
or at UTA or in California, and they're curious about how to theoretically decentralize this, but they figured out by doing it through the Apple OS, you can actually make an app that people just run on Apple or on Apple phones or on iPhones, and just kind of create a decentralized cloud for the robotics.
Incredible. It's so fucking cool. The things that people come up with. I mean, the things that non-crypto people come up with in crypto is it's truly revolutionary.
Uh, But it was a good workshop. It was just hard. A lot of the questions that they had didn't necessarily make sense. Like one of them was trying to make like a decentralized decibel miner so that you could actually collect sound data off of highways
Oh,
to be able to tell how densely packed the highways are,
oh,
and you
that's so
can sell
interesting.
that data to Google Maps. Went right over my head.
I mean, there's interesting things like what some of the DeepIn projects are doing on Solana, where they have you buy like Hive Mapper, they have you buy a camera, you set it up in your car, you drive around, they collect the data, they pay you for that data. I think
Yeah,
that's like a slightly better model. But that being said, I mean anything is possible, and it's definitely worth the experiment. I think.
yeah. It's always fun, but I went into there ready to vibe code a game using Aura, and vibe coding was definitely not what the robotics students wanted to see.
Yeah, we had a similar issue with some of our AI guys. Like they were like non-crypto AI guys, and I was talking to them about like how they wanted to build in base batches, and they were just like, look, if it's not the intersection of AI, like I don't want to do it. Like if it's AI crypto, fine, but if it if it's crypto and doesn't have AI involved, like I'm not about that life.
Yeah. No. So it was interesting. There was a lawyer that attended, and he's head of technical innovation for the government of Texas, and
Oh,
he just came in with a very specific thing that he wanted to build, and this is how he started the conversation. He goes, "Hey, this is $1 billion idea that has already raised 100 million, and we're just looking for developers to build it." And I'm like, "How do you raise without a product? Show
oh,
show me this magic that you can just raise 100 million with nothing."
and
So
was he
jealous.
talking about how somebody else had raised capital, like, and he wanted to compete with them or something?
For the most part, yeah. It's like legal tech, you know,
Yeah,
and there's always money in legal tech.
right. I mean, can sell anything as software as a service these days, unfortunately.
So true, so true.
All right, well, why don't we get started? That was a great little intro. I'm glad I got to learn more about the workshop. The New York workshop was very similar, actually, funny enough. So I'm glad that base batches and these workshops are drawing in more people outside of crypto. Thank God we can hopefully be more of a top of funnel or use hackathons more of a top of funnel than casinos moving forward. That would be cool. Okay, so I'm gonna play this little home base intro video, and then we're gonna get started. All right. Welcome home. Welcome to base. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today we have a very special session with Miles Williams and Anthony Pisano from Dash. They've been building this sort of brand, this IP that they would like to share with people today. So, Miles, Anthony, feel free to share a little bit about yourselves and why we're here today.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having us.
Of course.
How's it going? My name is Miles William. I'm a music producer and co-founder of Dash World Inc. with my partner Anthony Pisano, who is the CEO of and founder of Game Over Media, which is I can let Anthony explain in depth like what that is, but yeah, we basically came together. We're longtime friends and worked together in the music business for a long time. We always had an idea of, putting out music and creating like a freer economy for the music community, and just tried to find cool ways to do that through, creating music and art. And we decided to make this character Dash, who kind of embodies a musical DJ. I basically put a lot of time and effort into crafting a soul into Dash, which is now in the form of an AI agent that is on our website, where you can go and talk and interact with Dash. We built an album and some music behind Dash, which we've released a couple songs already. One song was an official remix with Audrey Nuna from Sony, which was like a dual pack with Channel Trace, which was a cool first release. We released our latest song, Back to Life, featuring Titus, which is out right now and streaming and getting some DJ support. And yeah, so we've built music. Anthony and his community have been starting to build the games here for Dash and Dash World, and I can let Anthony kind of explain, what he does and how he's impacted Dash World.
Thanks, Miles. Yeah, so what I've been doing over the last 8 years of my life is really intersecting the worlds of music, gaming, and technology. Similar to Miles, when we first met, I was still heavily making music, so we collaborated in that sense. And then, I went on to continue to build my business and basically doing marketing within the music, gaming, and tech space, whether that's working for the top Web3 gaming communities like Star Atlas in the last bull run to all the major record labels, top artists, and a lot of different gaming publishers and top games like Konami eFootball to Scopely's, Stumble Guys, and Monopoly Go, and a bunch of others. So when me and Miles came together about a year ago, we've always been on the same page as far as doing potentially a digital character project, incorporating an AI agent. Miles being an incredible producer, adding the music element, and then also adding in games and figuring out how we were going to build this community, and talking with Base and other partners, really figuring out how we are going to do it also in the Web3 space, how we can essentially come up with ideas and collaborate within the community to help us grow the IP, come up with game ideas, and put that into our ecosystem for Dash. So, we're excited to see what this can what could come about here.
I'm really curious, Anthony. Are there any takeaways from your time at Star Atlas that you are bringing into how you're thinking about building the next sort of generation of games?
I mean, when we worked with Star Atlas, we helped with a lot of the community building. My team also helped with a lot of those like early NFT assets that went super viral.
Got it.
We helped with some of the influencer stuff, and I think like we wanted, like, that was such an incredible honor to be a part of that project at that time, because it was just a really exciting project and one of the best in the space. What me and Miles has really been focusing on, like, we aren't really, too focused on like the token side of Web3. Obviously that's in the roadmap long term, but we really want to get the IP, the games, the music. We want to get the product out, and we really want to build the community there and then see where it takes us. Like, we started this project and it just keeps organically just moving on its own at this point. We've been able to get in with like all these different companies and meetings and partnerships, really based off of people believing in the project. So we really want to, continue to just focus on IP building first and community building first, and then see where that takes us from there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, for me,
Miles, one thing, like back to your question with Star Atlas, they did the token and a lot of the community stuff first, and then built the game later. Where me and Miles are doing it the opposite way right now.
Yeah, I never even thought about a token ever once in this whole process.
I love that.
I just like, I don't even know how any of that shit even works, to be honest. Like, that's not my expertise here. Like, I'm a music producer. I make music. I love making music.
No. Like, I love it. Something that we always hear in Web3 specifically is that we need more users. We always need more users. We don't need more investors. And I love the fact that y'all are focused on users first and making sure that the products that y'all put out there are amazing. And they really are.
Exactly.
So I love it.
Yeah, it's like entering like a new world for me, like personally, being able to create and put your music out and have like it's almost like a reset on the whole business itself. So, Dash for me is like a way to creatively put out my music and still follow that journey. But then just add all the stuff I've loved my whole life, like video games and cartoons and just creating like world building and escaping from the world that we're all stuck in right now. And like, that's really why me and Anthony started this project, just to get the music out and storytell in a cool way and build games around it. And yeah, like, it's just, I never even really thought about all the other stuff, but it's cool because it's let us here, on this live stream with people like you, and meeting all these cool new people in these communities that I've never had exposure to. But it's awesome to be able to bring resources and come and work with the people like, from Web3 and different devs and AI and different things like that to help me, kind of learn how to build the world I've always thought of in my head, but like, I can't build it myself. I can make some cool music and stuff for it to do some creative direction, but aside from that, it's cool to meet real builders that can make the dream come to life.
I mean, it's so true. How many of us growing up wanted to be, building games, building worlds, etc. And now that we actually have the tools to do that, especially like collectively as a community, it's just super special. So why don't we actually talk a little bit about what your guys' vision is for Dash and how you see people interacting with Dash, building on top of it. What is the best case scenario? And especially like from your perspective, someone who isn't, as a developer focused, more focused on the music, it's really important side, production side. But like, do you even see other musicians taking part and contributing to some of Dash's open IP?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like, it's not that musicians like me or my community don't want to do this. It's just nobody knows about it. There's not enough awareness. If musicians are creators, and most of them are stuck under, a rock or something holding them back from being able to fully express themselves. And like, to be honest, like, these tools are completely opening up the ability for all of them to come in, participate. And I think there's a huge opportunity for everybody in the music community to kind of, come into the fold here and participate. I know Anthony, has actually made a bunch of mini games for different artists, and for some song release campaigns and stuff that they're doing. So the interest is there, and it's definitely part of the culture of today. Like, games are coming back, they're cool, and the culture around the branding of these games, is coming back and is cool, and it's growing. So
yeah, and we really want to like keep that theme and have the gaming experience and the musical experience just as important on each side, with the gameplay being really addictive, but also understanding that, Miles has made a bunch of incredible music for these types of situations and for the IP. So, sticking to that theme throughout the games is going to be really important. And then obviously, like, seeing where that takes us and what other ideas the community might have. I mean, as we know, I think we've all grown up with certain games where the music really stuck out to us, and we want to, keep that theme throughout the project.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it just made me think of like how each game could even tell a different piece of the lore. So like every game doesn't have to be like the same backstory, etc. One
yeah,
game could actually tell the backstory. Another game could be a journey within that adventure, etc.
yeah, totally. And it's interesting how certain kind of game music suits certain kind of games. Like Tony Hawk Pro Skater is like a game for me where music was a major thing, right? Like, and maybe hopefully for everybody else they can resonate with that, but also like playing Pokemon, like the theme song that just repeats, like, and you just listen to, like, you just know. It's just funny how like a shorter kind of repetitive song lives in a game in the style of gameplay that is, versus another game where it's kind of free run, where it's like Tony Hawk or GTA, and like the soundtrack is kind of changing in the areas that you're walking into. I don't know. It's kind of cool to see how those come about, and I wonder how game developers think of incorporating that when they build these games.
I mean, it's a really good point because when you think of stuff like Madden or NBA, where like people remember like Madden 2013 specifically just because of the music
Yeah.
that was in it, right? So like the music plays such an important part in the sort of nostalgia factor, but also just like the experience of the game itself, in such a meaningful way. And I think GTA is another really good example that you brought up, where like like GTA 4, like most of those songs in that game, most of us heard in GTA 4 first, and then like thereafter realized, these were very popular songs over the past several decades. So it's very cool to get more exposure to that type of music just by playing a game.
Yeah, games reviving music is like a thing, So
100%. Yeah, I
that's
think GTA is literally one of the best examples of that.
I'm excited for the new one to come out. Now I'm just kind of curious if they're plugging crypto in there at all. I know they hinted at it a few times. Maybe.
I mean, I could see them doing it for the RP servers. Apparently, they're going to have dedicated GTA 6 going to have dedicated RP servers, so it would make sense to have a sort of in-game economy that is somewhat tokenized or have the ability to tokenize. I mean, GTA 6 would literally own the market if they did something like that.
I love it. I mean, you're pitching based in C to me. I need Miles' skin or Dash's skin for whenever I'm actually able to play GTA.
I mean,
Ooh,
we'd love to
Goal.
make that possible.
That's one of our goals, though, is to really get Dash into Fortnite and to different gaming IP and being able to have his skin being sold across those different environments.
Yeah, that would be super fire. We kind of started building little baby Fortnite maps and stuff like that to build the vision for us internally, where we see this going. So it's kind of cool to see. I don't know. It's cool to build, like, to be a part of like world building and see it come to life and be able to like play with it. It's dope.
I mean, in my opinion, that's quite literally why we're here. We had to build this world, and let's build some more.
Yeah, definitely.
It's part of human nature. Okay, so I would like, if you guys are ready, would like one of you to share your screen perhaps and maybe showcase a little bit about what you guys have been building, what you're working on, and the live chat.
Cool.
And you're now on the stage. I'm going to make it full screen so everyone can watch and pay attention. All right. Ready to go when you are.
So this is Dash. When you come to our website, you see him kind of floating here in the center. He's wearing all custom clothes. I design clothes on the side as well. So everything's like the clothes he's wearing is actual clothes that have been designed and can be worn and purchased in real life. This is Echo right here. Echo is, Dash's sidekick. He's the first person he meets when he crash lands in Arca 250, which is the planet that he lands on after falling into a black hole vortex, where it shot him out and he got lost in space, and he's pretty much lands on this planet and he meets Echo. It's an AI that kind of flies around and can morph into Inspector Gadget style, morph into all different useful things for Dash, like headphones or a hoverboard or
I love that.
all different types of things. You can see that on his shoes, like his shoes kind of match the side here. So he'll like just fly under and morph into a hoverboard that he can fly on. And he can also turn into a beeper, a chat method, just anything pretty much. Echo is the most useful companion ever. Here, if you in the up top left, you can click where you can enter the lore and kind of read about how Dash got here and what Dash is doing. The story of Dash is the lore is told in the past tense, but you're moving with the story in real time. So Dash went through a lot of things. you can read in the depth of the lore. But Dash basically went through a life change, and when he was shot out through the black hole and landed on Arca 250, he was away from his family, away from his friends, away from the people that mattered the most. But he was also on a journey of self-discovery, which a lot of us kind of go through when we, let's say, first, leave the house, for high school or college or wherever you officially separated from your family, and you kind of felt that need to, decide who you were going to be on your own, but you still wanted to go back home. And like, so Dash's parallel journey is he also wants to get back home, but he can't just do that. He needs to find a way to get back home. And through the help of Echo and some people that he meets on Arca 250 that become his friends, Serafina, his love interest, or Telly, a cyber rogue that pretty much helps him to escape from the evil node and the Black Saints. And Dash has a red eye and a blue eye, which you can kind of see here in this image. But the red eye and the blue eye represent the two sides of him. There's Dash, and then there's Sylar. Sylar is the evil side of Dash. It's like the evil side of all of us. You have your good side and your bad side, and you're kind of always questioning why you let the bad side ever, interfere. But it's kind of something that we all go through. And Dash, while he's on Arca 250, Echo kind of realizes like that the split personality vibe that Dash is giving off, and he recommends that he go visit an intergalactic shaman known as a soul splitter. And when he goes to meet the shaman, the shaman tells him, there's one thing you can do here. You can split your soul, and then you have 21 days to kill the bad side, or the bad side will kill you. And the good thing about this is if you kill the bad side, only the good part of you will remain, and you can live in harmony. But there's one thing about being human. There's one thing about having a soul, and it's knowing how to balance both sides, both emotions. And that's what makes you, a true human, a true soul, a true power of the universe. So the shaman says, if you can find a way to manage Sylar, and you can contain Sylar, you can reunite, and you'll become superstar Dash. You'll have the full ability to be the best you can possibly be. So throughout the story of Dash, navigating Arca 250, Sylar's consistently trying to sabotage him, and capture Serafina, and does all these different things to kind of mess with Dash. Dash ends up reuniting with Sylar, which, by the way, just a cliff note, I think it would be super cool, like a game where it's like you have the 21 days to beat Sylar or not get caught by Sylar or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool, and just writing the lore, a style game that could go with it. But yeah, so Dash essentially, he reunites and becomes superstar Dash. He defeats, Node and the Black Saints, and Telly helps him to navigate his way back through the cosmic barrier, so he could get back to the Milky Way. And when he gets back to the Milky Way, he realizes that he wants to make music, and that planet Earth is the only place that has music that impacts people's emotion the way it does. Like nowhere else on in the universe or anywhere do people feel emotion through music the way they do here. So Dash comes back to Earth. He wants to be a DJ. He wants to travel the world and pretty much, impact people with the music that he creates. So that's why Dash is here, and that's why the lore takes place and lets you know of this like journey of how he got here. And the next feature that we have here, if I switch back, I will switch my other screen. I will show another screen real quick.
Such a succinct description of the Dash lore. That was fantastic. I really do see like see myself playing Dash in like a sort of Fallout kind of world, with Echo being the companion and helping us get off planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. So what you're looking at now is when you enter, you have to put your email in. I just skipped all that. And when you enter in here, you can talk to Dash. I recommend introducing yourself. Dash probably,
I love the UI. That's incredible.
yeah, it went with like the old like Fallout type of
Yeah.
hacker kind of vibe. Dash knows me, so he knows a little bit about what's going on, and we talk quite a bit. Dash is almost like an extension of myself. So I like to eat sushi. So I would Dash. Yeah, I could say, yeah, working on a new song, but wanted to get your take on sushi in LA.
I just had some fresh tuna sashimi last night. It was my first stop here in Tokyo.
Oh, nice, man. So as you could see, Dash's response, man, sushi in LA is an experience. Sushi Fumi is my personal favorite. It is the best. You have to get online at like 4 p.m. to get in.
Oh fuck yeah!
But
that's how you know.
it's super exclusive, super cool, super high quality, and that's a lot of like what Dash's personality is like. We took a lot of time to input a lot of what would be, I guess, like mirroring my personality and taste in certain things, so that it's not a generic AI feeling. It's really, really specific.
Personality, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Just never do takeout sushi, ruins the whole vibe.
Yeah. You know, like that's a huge in programming the memories for Dash like that. These were little things where you know, the AI would respond and be like, yeah, sometimes you even got to take it on the road because it's so good. And I'm like, no. you don't take it on the road. You eat it there. Like, you know, that's the way to do it.
Like ship it to your friends cross country.
Yeah. Or I could say, Dash, if you were to have a mobile video game, what would it be like? And now we can ask Dash like what kind of game he would want to make.
Yes.
You can literally go step by step in detail everything that he would want to make, you know, the game like.
Ooh. Unlocking new instruments. That is not a bad idea.
And maybe give me like a suggestion, like maybe give it some direction where you're like, all right, that idea is cool, but what if it was more like this?
Okay, yeah. So let's do this. I like the idea of rhythmic challenges and unlocking new instruments. How would you build up this game so it could actually teach young children how to play an instrument?
Teach children
how to play an instrument, or maybe even how to read music. Let's start with play a new instrument.
Yeah.
This is interesting, yeah, because I mean, it could be like them playing with turntables. It also could be like a piano, and them actually like tapping the piano to play certain notes that help them beat the rhythm challenges, and then they move on to a new instrument.
It looks like he's recommending to start with like the rhythm, like learning rhythm, like tapping.
Ooh, I like it.
And each planet represent different instrument families: percussion, world, string galaxy, wind nebula. Kids earn depth by mastering simple patterns that gradually increase in complexity. could include AR features where they point their device at real instruments. I don't know, kids are going to be pointing their devices.
Yeah, that's maybe too much, but actually the plan that does each like Percussion World, String Galaxy, that's hilarious. And then when you go to each world, you actually learn rhythm through those instruments specifically. So like, here's how you would play the violin. Here's how you play the harp.
Maybe he'll tell me I'm wrong.
He's gonna be like, kids love multiplayer, you retard. we love to showcase exactly how it's done.
So now he gives like a reasonable response to like adapt to maybe like 5-year-old age group.
I really thought he'd get angry. I thought he'd be like, come on, multiplayer's the thing.
You know, like Dash is cool, man. Dash is always trying to find a positive solution for anything.
Man, I love that. You guys created the perfect character.
If you want to say Dash, what type of music are you listening to? So he gives an example of like what he's listening to, some of like the old stuff that inspired him. And then he talks about his playlist that he has, that you can click this link and it'll actually take you to a playlist that's updated weekly with the music that inspires Dash and like the things that go into creating Dash.
Yeah, I mean, Dash got some good taste. Come on, Fred again, Kate Renata. I mean, Dash knows what's up.
I know some people may be interested in, I guess Dash is considered, you know, to be making some type of Web3 music. But again,
Daniel Allen, yeah.
And then again, it'll be a list that is specifically catering to Web3 songs that are out there that are being created by creators. So from anything music related, Dash, what do you use to make music? You know, if you're into making music and you like to create, Dash has, I've taught Dash all of the secret sauce. He pretty much uses the same plugins and signal chain and different things as me. So this is real information, real useful information. It's not just kind of generic music stuff. But yeah.
Out of curiosity, are your prompts continuing to train Dash?
I train Dash like every day as I go and live like each day of my life. I update it with a little bit more memory about things I'm experiencing. So if you're a friend of mine and you know, like tell me about
the memory of your past conversations as well, which is really nice.
This is a funny one. Anthony recently got married and we went to his wedding and he had a crazy wedding. He had Rick Ross perform at the wedding.
No way.
And I asked, Dash, tell me about Anthony's wedding. It's got Easter eggs. If you know me and we bump into each other, maybe we talk about how we had this live stream, different things. Like I update it. But yeah, like he knows all about the wedding. He knows all about how it was an amazing place and things. So
I don't think I've ever seen anything that happy before. It was beautiful seeing two people so perfect for each other. That's amazing.
Yeah. So so like I've got it tuned. It's like really a personal experience, and we didn't want it just to be like generic information about music, or we wanted it to be really personal to the experience of getting to know Dash and growing with Dash, the community growing and building with Dash, and you kind of becoming a part of Dash's world as you get to know him and he gets to know you. And Yeah, he remembers you as you continue to interact. Up in here in the burger in the top left, if you click, you can go to account settings, and then in account settings, you'll be able to connect your Discord, which we have a Discord group for Dash. I recommend everybody,
I'm gonna go throw that in the chat right now. So if people want to go check out Dash World and they want to,
yeah, you can connect your Discord here. Soon we're going to be rolling Dash out on X, and it'll be like all fully autonomous on X. But he'll be able to remember who you are based on your Discord and your X profiles and the different places you talk to Dash. It'll be able to recognize you by your username. So we're gonna roll all of this out. This is like V1. We really wanted to get this idea out to the community. Obviously, eventually Dash. We're working on Dash being able to be like live streaming, talking to you. He has a voice. He has his emotes and stuff. So we're working on bringing the live stream aspect, which Anthony can definitely touch more on that.
Can we talk about the single that just came out too, Miles?
ooh, what is this?
Yeah.
Some alpha?
We forgot about that one.
I get some beta.
Yeah. I mean, the new single is called Back to Life. Let's ask Dash what about his new single.
Yes, I'm actually really curious.
I don't know. I kind of asked a weird question. What's your new single?
Back to Life with Titus. Is that the one, Back to Life?
Yeah.
Fire. Can you ask Dash like how he was inspired to make Back to Life or something like that?
This is so cool, by the way. Like just for game development in general, you can write almost your entire storyline for your game just by connecting with Dash. That's so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Way to build out a game. Just be like, yo, Dash, like you know your lore better than anyone. Here's what I'm thinking of doing. How do these two pieces fit together?
Exactly.
Even the idea of like different worlds being percussion, etc. I mean, that's pretty brilliant. And that kids could actually learn rhythm through going to these different worlds. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's really cool actually.
I do that when I'm experimenting to make music. I'll say, Dash, like, how do I make a song like Fred again? And he'll tell me, and I'll be like, well, actually, Dash, I need to be more specific. What sound patches do I need to use? What is the arrangement like? And he will go into detail as such amazing detail on how to structure a song and what sounds to use, and down to the hertz of how to EQ each sound. So it's really in depth and really useful. Like I actually get ideas from it.
I mean, that's so cool. Yeah, it's so cool to be able to build with the main character of the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Dash is the creator at the end of the day. It's brilliant.
What game do you like, Luciano?
One of my favorite games right now, I would, if I was back in the States, I'd be playing Oblivion right now, Skyrim. Oh shit!
I was talking about the song.
Grimes created this perfect fusion of ethereal
Not the
vocals.
song, the video game. Yeah, he's talking about a song, I guess, that Grimes made.
I was like, wait, I didn't know Grimes made music for.
He says, "Oh, the Elder Scrolls 4, that game was revolutionary."
Oh my god, I was exploring Cyrodiil when I first arrived on Earth. That's amazing. When he first came to Earth, the first thing he did was play Oblivion.
Yeah.
Open world sounds mind blowing. You can literally go anywhere and do anything. That moment when you exit the Imperial sewers, the whole world opens up. Pure magic. Soundtrack still gives me chills, but that's to really create something special. Ask him more about the soundtrack, yeah. Or actually ask him whatever you're asking him now first.
I mean, you could go into, I don't know much about the game personally myself, but you can go into it. But here he'll talk about how he would create a dash.
Prime. Oh. Cypherpunk Cityscape. Unlock different planets and dimensions. Instead of magic, you have music production skills. Environment sounds increase spells. Oh, that's so fun. Side quest involve helping characters find their creative voice. More audio system based on harmony versus power. Crafting system will be building instruments, sound equipment. That's a really good idea, actually.
I love watching him just print everything back. It's so cool.
I have the sounds muted, but there's like little sound in there.
Oh, nice.
Like you're floating, like you get pinged when he sends the chat.
Even as when transform games into solitary experience and living ecosystem, streamers aren't just playing games, they're creating shared cultural moments that viewer participates through chat, memes, donations. Damn. Exploded because the community is formed around them on platforms like Twitch and Discord. Developers are now designing games specifically with streaming in mind, adding features that enhance viewer participation. Even single-player games benefit from community speedrunning challenges and lore discussions. The most successful games today build tools for community creation. Exactly. Look at Minecraft or Roblox. Very relevant Dash. It's no longer just about the game itself, but the social infrastructure around it. What games do you think have the strongest communities right now? Damn, Dash knows what's up.
So, like I encourage, all of you to, dive in and play with Dash however you see fit and create, however you, can, by utilizing Dash. And I don't know if there's questions that you want me to specifically continue to ask or.
I think I'm kind of curious, like, how did you come up with the character itself?
I mean, it kind of like is just, we worked with a really, really amazing company called Homebase, and they really helped to bring the vision to life. But it's like just loosely based off of like myself and my image, and kind of like the clothes and stuff I wear, and the eyes kind of tell the story of the personality, and the scar on the face kind of shows like some of the
I like how personable it is. Well, I have a follow-up question then. Do you have red eyes or blue eyes?
I mean, yeah, it depends on which day you catch me.
Yeah, that's great. You should ask it if it would ever make a soundtrack similar to Oblivion, or I guess how it resonates with that sort of music. I'm just so curious to explore like the complexity or the depth of Dash's interests. Oh yeah, Dash got to think about this one.
Yeah, he really did.
All right, I'd start by studying Jeremy's sole original work to understand what made it iconic. Those ethereal strings and ambient textures that perfectly capture both wonder and danger. Then I'd begin with creating a central theme that evolves throughout the game, something that balances orchestral elements with subtle electronic textures for world exploration music. I'd compose adaptive pieces that seamlessly transition between peaceful and ambiance and tension as threats approach. Each region would have its own sonic identity, maybe using different model scales for different provinces. I'd incorporate acoustic instruments like dulcimer and hammered strings for villages, with more experimental sound design for Daedric realms. The key would be creating music that enhances immersion without overwhelming the player. What elements from the original soundtrack do you think are essential to preserve? That is insane answer. That is like, it literally doesn't get better than that. You literally could create a new Oblivion soundtrack using that as your foundation.
Yeah, it's a good starting point.
Really?
Like for me, if somebody were to ask me, yo, Miles, I need you to like make, you know, a soundtrack similar to XYZ, you know, I could just go ask Dash, and Dash could literally tell me. And I mean, I could ask like Chat GPT or like something else, but Dash already knows like how I make music
I
and
was just
the
about to
tools
say,
I use and like
yeah,
all the stuff I make. So it's
Dash
like,
has like a real point of reference. It's insane, actually.
yeah. And you can ask Dash questions and Dash won't know the answer. You know, you could ask Dash about some underground band or something, and he'll be like, "Nah, I don't know. You should put me on."
Tell
And
me
then
about it, yeah.
you can teach him, and then he'll know. Then he'll remember.
Oh,
But
it's so fire.
yeah, in the Discord, a lot more. There's like a little bit more of a community in there right now. So in the Discord, sometimes you see it's fun to watch other people talk to Dash, and
Also, the image generation too, Miles. If you want to go into that a little bit in the Discord.
yeah, in the Discord, there's image generation. There's also Dash has image recognition. Like if you upload a photo of yourself into the Discord, Dash can comment on what you're wearing, what you're eating, what you're doing,
Oh, wow.
look, whatever it is. You can show Dash a photo of, I don't know, some kind of, you know, whatever it is, like a programming software, and he'll look at it. He might notice it in the photo. The other day, someone put up a photo of them in their car listening to his new single, and they had their navigation system up, and he was like, "Oh, yo, glad to see you bumping my song in the streets of Dallas, Texas. Like, I appreciate that."
Oh,
And
damn.
he like recognized, you know, the fact that his navigation was on in the car and that he was in Dallas, Texas. In fact, listening to the song. So
Oh, that's incredible, yo. I mean, it's like Dash is like a genuinely experienced musician who's like actually interacting with people. It's really good. I mean, you've killed it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, Anthony can talk about more about the next steps of what we've got coming as far as the live streaming. We've been building that ability out where, you know, we'll be able to have Dash join us on this stream.
Will he be actually talking?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So like these prompts we'll be hearing these prompts and reading them next live.
Yeah.
Incredible. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the next phase of where we're taking it. We've really been focused on getting the agent live on the website, which, you know, we've been live for, you know, a little bit less than 2 weeks. And then also the first single. So the next steps would be, obviously we want to do these types of activations on base, but we're starting to get the process going on getting Dash on Twitch. So that's definitely a big priority over the next couple months of getting live there, and then seeing how audiences can interact, you know, a few days a week to start on Twitch with him. And then what I've been doing on the clipping side, we're able to like Twitch clip content on Twitch. So trying to get Dash paired up with streamers in the future and getting guests on the show, and then being able to distribute that content across the internet from there is, you know, what the plan is on that side.
that makes perfect sense. I think that's a perfect show, like bringing Dash into the live stream and just being like, yo, Dash, I'm building the game for you. Like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, what do you want to do? And just like having Dash be that sort of like co-engineer or co-creator.
Yeah, and like with Dash being on Twitch, there's a lot of, you know, really cool and interesting ways that the base community can get involved even further there, right? So we weren't really thinking about that prior to speaking with Bradley and the team, but it's definitely something that we want to be doing on Twitch as well with the base community.
I think that's a really, really good idea. Oh wait, we're live right now. What's up, base community? Didn't realize we're streaming. Amazing to connect with all of you. I've heard so many great things about what we're building. Love how you're creating spaces where music, gaming, Web3 can thrive together. Looking forward to exploring ways we can collaborate and build something special. Hope you're enjoying Back to Life. Drop me your thoughts. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I had to let Dash know. I was saying, hey, like base is building an awesome community. Dash, you should lock in with them. And he was saying, yeah, I hear what they're building. It's really dope. I'd love to get connected with them. We're building something similar. And then I said, well, you're on live stream with them now, so say hi. And
Yes, so
message
great.
he shot out. So yeah, it is. Obviously, this is just like fun for us. Like I sit here actually 24/7 making the music and like, talking with Dash, programming Dash, and working on the lore and the different things that people can engage, in with the community. And, Anthony's constantly, working and building as well. And we really got a lot of cool things in the works. And it's just fun. It's like just literally fun. Me and Anthony, if you come to our like studio, it's just covered in toys and just like fun stuff and video game, lifestyle type thing. So it's
No, I mean,
it's cool to decorate your office, but it's cooler to build your own digital universe. Like,
hell yeah. I mean, it's exactly what Zach is saying. Like, you guys are building something genuinely interesting here, genuinely fun, and this is how you bring users, not only to crypto in general, but also to what you guys are building. So, I think it's really special. We're super glad to be helping you here. Super glad to be starting this sort of journey of building in public too. Um, this is only the first session of many, hopefully, and on the next one, we can even plan for Friday, perhaps, and we can find a good time to bring some devs on and to build out some of this and build side alongside Dash as well. I think it's going to be a really fun experience and really fruitful as well.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. This was a great space. Thank you all for joining.
Mm-hmm.
thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, guys. Really appreciate it.
Of course. We have our next session starting in about 5 minutes. Is there any other last things that you guys wanted to share, wanted to talk about, wanted to bring up before we sort of move on?
I think we covered it all, honestly. If there's any questions from the community, we can answer them before we jump. But if not, then we can hop.
If there's any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. Also, send your base names. If you're watching, feel free to send your base name in. We will record all base names. If you need help getting a base name, DM me. Let us know. If you have any questions for Anthony or Miles or for Dash, feel free to put them in the comments. If not, no worries. And really appreciate you all once again for being here, sharing Dash, sharing the lore, sharing your story, sharing your journey. I mean, this is really, really cool. Super happy to be helping building with you guys, and to support.
Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
And thank you to Luciano for making this happen. Thank you for having us, my guy.
Thanks,
And,
Thank you,
I'll see
brother.
you on Telegram.
Exactly.
Of course. No, thank you guys. Really, I'm just a vessel. I'm here for y'all. And actually, last thing, in regards to the GitHub, if anyone wants to start building out some of the Dash IP or some Dash games on your own, feel free to reach out to me or Zach, and we'll help you get started. So if you guys want to work with Dash, build on top of Dash, etc., let us know, and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Let us know what you need from us.
Yeah.
Of course. Let's plan for Friday, maybe around the same time. Maybe I'm having the Far Hack winners on from FarCon at 2 p.m. Eastern, and that will go to about 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys are down, we could plan for 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday.
Yeah.
And also, I know Zach did want to do something earlier, so maybe we could do even earlier in the day, especially if you have like specific devs in mind, Zach, that you want to bring on, and that time doesn't work for him. So let's coordinate on that, and make it happen.
We'll get there on Telegram, and we can just chat it over.
Perfect. All right, so we'll plan for Friday. We'll confirm time, hopefully tomorrow, and then we'll see you guys back here then.
Thank you, guys. Talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Peace
Cheers.
out, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
All right. We're going to be starting here very soon. Let me add Zal to the stage. Welcome, sir. I'm so glad to have you. Oh, I think you're muted. I still can't hear you. Don't worry, everyone. Just some slight technical difficulties. We'll be back in a moment. I'm sure Sure as all will find out how to unmute his mic here momentarily. And if anyone has any questions for Dash or for Zal, feel free to put them in the comments. Dash will be coming back on most likely on Friday, so stay tuned with us, and we will continue building and chatting with this great new character in our lives. Looks like Zal is back. I'm going to add to the stage.
Perfect. I think we got it now.
We got it. That's perfect. Love to see it. Love to hear it.
Good. How we living?
Oh, we're living fantastic. I'm not sure if you caught any of the previous session, but
I did not get a chance. I was cooking it up over here,
I
working on a couple things in the back end. I was like, I thought about it. I was like, okay, it's 5 o'clock. Let me put it on in the background. 5 o'clock came and went, and it was a very quick hour. But it's good to be here. I'm excited to chat with you.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I totally understand it. It's very hard to build and to watch at the same time. So no worries at all. I know you're super busy and got stuff cooking up, which is why you're on today. But essentially, we had someone on who was building this IP around this character called Dash, build out the lore, etc. This 3D character, and you can chat with it. It's a very personable AI. So we're having some builders come on live to build some games using this IP. So it's going to be a very interesting community-driven experience. But let's move on from Dash and on to now the Zao. I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself, what you're working on, and why we're here.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Zol. I'm building the Zao. We've been cooking this up for the last couple of years. Excuse me. But I've actually been working in entrepreneurship for the last 6 years with my artist Django, Django UU, Django W. He likes to be called. He's a friend of mine from college. I went to school at RIT up in upstate New York
Hell yeah,
for
baby.
18. Yeah,
Upstate, man.
whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Binghamton.
Oh, okay. So you're right of us there. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so we'll have
Real
to
upstate
bring
right
it back to the Rochester conversation then at the end.
here. Wegmans, baby.
But yeah, I was out there for 5 years. I personally, coming from Boston, 18 years of my life, I was very ready to leave after 5 years. I'm happy that I had my time there. It was good schooling, but the Rochester landscape and area wasn't maybe my favorite,
Yeah.
especially because I went from graduating RIT and starting to kind of like just get interested in entrepreneurship. I was helping Django with networking and trying to help him with promotion and the social media side of things. What I realized my best thing I could do for him was get him to be able to spend more time to make music. Anything that I could do that could help him along that path, I saw as a success. And that's kind of the goal I started with initially. And as I moved out to Portland, Oregon, is where I moved for a couple of years. When I was out in Oregon, I started to go down the rabbit hole of how NFTs were on the blockchain, how the blockchain worked, and trying to leverage that for musicians because I was thinking, how can I help use this to help Janko? What I didn't realize is it would be a whole ecosystem of networking and everything else, and me kind of going into the super hard economic side and trying to like learn a lot more about these different concepts, right? So when I went to Portland, I went in person to a couple events. The first one I went to was a Bitcoin event. It was a lot of older white gentlemen, you know,
Classic.
but
The
yeah,
big
exactly. Classic,
demographic.
right? I was like, okay, this is weird, but I've been in situations like that before. So
Right.
it's fine.
Especially in Rochester, I'm sure.
But essentially after that, one of the gentlemen there added me to like 5 or 6 different Telegram group chats because by the time I came in, it was February of 2023.
Oh shit.
It was like super after the bull and like beginning of the
Right.
bear, right? So I was blessed because by the time I did come into crypto, most of the folks that were there for the technology, were there for like a long-term stint because it was pretty much a couple months after the bottom of the market. So most of the
Yeah.
folks that were there, right? Like
No, you
we're
literally
like,
came in at the
okay, we had
bottom.
to like live through that, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of the people I ended up meeting, everyone ended up, I realized I was very much blessed with coming in at a really good time, and
Mhm.
timing was a lot of that. And when he added me to these different Telegram group chats, I started to get involved with ETH PDX, which super grew my mind in terms of learning what I couldn't learn online in person from just like trusted individuals, especially individuals I was meeting week after week or month after month. That when I was starting, I was really new to DAOs, but also just like blockchain. So these individuals that were working full time in blockchain, the every time I could get into a DAO meeting because I was working full time, so it'd be like a Friday afternoon if I could come, or sometimes on a weekend if they have an event, or when once a month Wednesday nights. But every time I would come, they had progressed the DAO a little bit, so it was really cool to see that progress and joining it and
Oh
being a part
shit.
of that. But the concept out there in Portland, Oregon, is a very regen concept. Like
Okay.
their
Yeah.
mentality towards blockchain was how can we use it to leverage blockchain resources for local
Impact.
individuals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Local impact. Perfect. And they realized they ended up starting with a little too wide of a scope with ETH PDX over the time
Don't we
of
all?
2 years there. Yeah. They realized at one point that they need other DAOs to be a part of the DAO of DAOs. Made up a ton of concepts, lots of white papers, lots of things written. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie, I haven't seen most of that stuff that's online because for me it was I met them in person. I was able to talk to them about some of these things and kind of seeing them as they formulated some of these ideas, which like really grew my mind very quickly in a very good, like I would say positive
Mhm.
mentality towards crypto, where it was a big like how can we leverage this technology to help already existing businesses bring their costs down because blockchain is amazing for that, but then also B, bring them on chain and see what they can do when they leverage on chain technology.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because you can sort of see what experiments people are really focusing on, what they're iterating on, and what's working well. I mean, every idea in crypto has been tried before. You know what I mean? Like, if you think you have like a brand new idea and you're the first one to try in crypto, like it's obviously not the case. But I mean, the timing has never been right for almost any of these products. So we're going to keep seeing this sort of like experimentation, iteration,
Mm-hmm.
and until it sticks. And most of the ideas are genuinely good. It's just like the execution that's wrong, either because like the people aren't incentive aligned enough, or it's just like too web two minded, right? So like it's just like
Wow. Wow. That's very, very well said. I like those two problems. Those are good problems. We can come back to that because I have, I think, two potential solutions with how we've structured what we're doing here. Actually, I can go into it. So
yeah,
we
yeah, go into
essentially,
it.
I started 2023. My decision initially was before I can recommend anything to Django, I have to do my due diligence
Mm,
and figure out what music communities there are out there, what music communities there are that were out there that are no longer out there, the pros and cons of all the communities that are out there, trying to join as many as I could. I joined a couple really solid ones where I met a lot of individuals that have become part of our community just through interacting and being a community member of several communities that I'm still a super big participant of today because they're communities that help mold my mentality for how I was going to build the ZAO, because ultimately what I built was a model of all of the really good parts of what I saw everyone that was in our community building, and being able to join later and leverage technology that was already out and not even have to worry about some things really changed my mindset, because like kind of when I came out, L2s were a new thing and like really starting to like gas was starting to be a lot cheaper on L2s, where like
mhm.
that wasn't a thing when the whole NFT 2021 thing. So it's like when
No, no.
people start and come into that, they can't like imagine a world that's different. But for me, it was like I can't imagine a world that was that, right? So it's like it helps me, I think, because we were able to just come into the game late enough where there were resources and technology out there, and there were, like you just said, ideas that were tried but at the wrong time. So like the timing has been turning, especially towards on-chain music. There's been throughout the whole bear, lots of people building. I would say there was a point 2 years ago that it was a lot smaller than it is today, and the price was probably, I don't know, probably lower. But I digress. Um, it's just like a different mentality towards it, and I think people are finally like really building their platforms as a content
Mhm.
creator And that's ultimately what we want at the ZAO, is how can we leverage this technology to bring the profit margin, the data, and the IP rights back to the creators, right? Let's get almost 100% if we can. If that individual wants to cook everything up, wants to do the code, wants to set it up, wants to do the clickety clack, fuck it. We'll teach them how to get 100% of their profit margin from customer to them, right? I'm down for that. If they're game to do put in the work, I'm like, we're willing to help that effort and spread that knowledge. But there's a lot of artists that their main focus and what they want to do is make the art. That's all they want to do. They don't
Right.
want to focus on anything else. We want to be able to help them with all of the other pieces, and instead of taking more than 50% of the pie, which a lot of corporations do, somewhere between 90 to 99% of the profit margin we want to try and give back to the artist. So our ultimate goal is to create an ecosystem where on every buy and sell on our application or whatever we're working on, we'll be able to go towards us and what we're funding. And usually, if a musician's involved in that, they'll be getting a cut of that as well, which is really cool. So the ZAO ultimately was built at the end of 2023. I was doing my due diligence. I was part of 3 or 4 different DAOs in a lot of different ways. And I had just recently joined Optimism Fractal, which is a big part of what we have done and what we have created at the ZAO, is the fractal communities. And with the fractal communities, what that taught me was they had built out an ecosystem where they were building on-chain respect by leveraging weekly meetings where individuals would share what they were working on to help the optimism ecosystem grow. And based on that, in groups of 6, people would reach consensus on who's done the most to help optimism grow in that group, and then who's done the most, second most, third most, fourth most, until everyone in that 6 has been picked. And those individuals will receive a token that is a governance token, but it's illiquid and soulbound, right? So this token that's illiquid and soulbound, illiquid means it can't be bought or sold, and soulbound means it stays in your wallet forever. You can't trade it out, or you can't sell it, or you kind of can't get rid of it, right?
Can't transfer it.
Soulbound,
Yeah.
right?
It's
So
soulbound. Yeah.
it's really cool because when I saw that, I was like, okay, now it's worth building a DAO, because I've seen them fail in a lot of different ways. I actually was a part of my first community. They had a podcast. I was been watching everyone for the last couple of years, and I joined their DAO. At the point, there was 5. At the end, it was just the 2 of us, me and Candy Toybox. Sam, who is my number 2, she kind of came up with the idea and the name for the ZAO, which stands for the Z Talent Artist Organization. Before, we were just Z Talent, and we've been cooking up as the ZAO for the last couple of years, since 2024 January. And we just kind of started with different um, meetings that were more focus grouped, where I was like, okay, all these people in these communities, I have this idea. I want you to come together, like help me with this. And I kind of kept coming back weekend on and week on, like for a couple months, I would say. And during that time, I was building out my structure for the ZAO, how we would organize, how we would take the respect game and implement it, and what we were doing to progressively decentralize our collective into an actual DAO, because at that point we were just a community of individuals. And our goal for 2024 was to do that. So halfway through the year, we started the Fractal Games, which we just had our 50th actually this last week, so almost about a year ago. And from those, we do ours weekly and just kind of have people sharing what they're doing and contributing to the ecosystem as a whole, as an artist, as an independent creator, whether that be on the dev side, whether that be on the music side, whether that be on the visual art side, whether that be on the photography side, right? So anything in that aspect, we want you to share, and we want to give our governance token, our community token to you to help further what we're building, and this idea of essentially an incubator for independent artists to meet and grow their projects, right? Because our goal is to have anyone with ZAO token to be able to suggest and propose a team to be on. Where, let me present my screen real quick,
Yes, feel free.
where what we can do is add new teams to our Hats tree. And what we're leveraging here with the Hats tree is Hats Protocol. Hats Protocol essentially gives you on-chain organizational charts. So because of this on-chain organizational chart, we were able to create different teams. Like Wave Wars was our first team, even before we were a DAO. When we were a collective, Hurricane came to me with the idea of Wave Wars, and he's been working for the last 8 months on a decentralized application that does exactly what I was saying. That leverages the degenerate activity and volume of blockchain and crypto to get money back to musicians.
I love it.
So we also have a couple of different other projects like South Festivals, which is an in-person our in-person arm of the ZOW, where we had Zowpalooza and Zowchella, which
And just to
were
be clear,
awesome.
like these are all specifically meant to allow artists to capture the value that they're creating. Like essentially, the problem that you're looking to solve is not even necessarily distribution, but specifically creating ways for that artist to be able to capture exactly what they're creating.
Exactly. It's like if you want 100%, we're going to give you those opportunities to get 100% and help you learn how to get there. If you don't, we're going to help you find the right individuals to suit the needs where you can trade some of your resources for their resources instead of having to exchange money. So we're trying to leverage social capital as opposed to financial capital, which a lot of DAOs tend to do.
And so for the ZAO specifically, it's a collective of people who are building out these projects for artists to be able to use and
No,
artists as well.
yeah, exactly. So it can be anyone. There's also individuals that aren't even technically creators, even though I consider them creators.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
they don't consider themselves creators. That are just community members that just enjoy being in a lot of spaces, being very involved with a lot of things, but not necessarily putting stuff out there themselves. So we are a place for that because of some of the individuals we've met throughout some of our events, throughout a bunch of different things. So we have a couple of amazing community members that just kind of just show up and are awesome, and it's really cool to have that support because those individuals really help the musicians that are working on getting music out there and getting some of those first comments on some of their songs and just kind of being there consistently. So that's our goal ultimately, is to help grow these musicians by helping them leverage meeting other creators that are out here in the space, while also finding a place within the ZOW that fits them best, because our goal ultimately is to have you do what you want to do and what you do best, really. Because if that's what you want to do and you want to contribute to what we're trying to build, we want you to join in. If it's something that's going to make you miserable and you really don't want to do it and it'll feel like a job, you're not the right fit for that, right? So, and there's somewhere else for you, right? And that's the ultimate goal, is to grow the organization to where it can be as flat as possible, where all of those hats and projects were on the same level under the
Mhm.
governance council. And all of these different projects that get proposed, anyone that wants to join in or wants to help manifest that idea can use their ZOW and vote for it and say, I like this idea. I want to leverage my social capital by adding photography or be adding music or mixing or et cetera, right? So the goal is to have it be an incubator for individuals to bring ideas, companies, songs, brands, to, and find other creators that are out there that aren't gonna be immediately um, that A are in the ZOW already and are in this community of creators, but then B can also immediately help them and show them with what they do. And our goal is to help creators build their on-chain reputation ultimately within this whole ecosystem. And we're starting with that with the ZOW.
Got it. So there happens to be products that allow them to capture the value, but you are trying to solve the distribution problem as well,
Um,
or at least the production side.
Yes and no. Eventually, always yes for everything, right? It has to be 100% in-house, right? My goal ultimately is to have a server in my house that I can have running a lot of things, and also to have a couple community members running servers themselves to help decentralize the whole thing, right? But we are not at that level yet. So we
Just
we
vision.
want
Just
to help working with right now the pie is so small that everything we can do to help grow the pie is going to be immensely helpful. So
Yep.
collaborating with everyone that's out there and really trying to go of a more collaboration over competition kind of mentality is huge. And supporting other individuals that are working on that. There's probably like 5 different members of the ZAO that are working on distribution in one way or another. And it's really cool because they're all working in different kind of avenues or medias for that distribution in Web3, which is really cool because we have the power to leverage different medias with different individuals. So it's been a lot of fun the last couple years, honestly. Like last year, we did the 2 side events to NFT NYC and Miami Art Basel. Those were an absolute blast. It was an amazing opportunity to get us out there. For the first one, we had 12 musicians and 6 of them were new to Web3. So that was an awesome opportunity for us to just be like, hey, come, this is a event that we're hosting. It's a free concert. Come join, right? And that's our in the door, and then have them meet the different members of the ZAO and the community and see what blockchain's about and learn about how many NFTs some of these musicians have sold and how much better of a monetization methods they've had through this crypto path than they've ever had before as a creator. So it's been a blessing to be here and work on these different things. We have a lot of other different projects that we can talk about, but I've been blabbing for a while. I would love to hear a little bit more about what we're cooking up here if you have any questions specifically. And yeah, it's just good to be here today.
Dude, thank you so much. First and foremost, shoot me over the Discord. Let me send it in the chat if anyone wants to join. If anyone has any questions for Zal, feel free to ask in the comments, and send your base names if you haven't already. So Zal, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the projects that people are building, and I also want to talk about I'm planning a music focused live stream sooner than later, and I want to have different founders on. I already have a few locked in, but I want to have a few different founders on who are building in this arena. Now we all know, or we all hope that we can solve some of these issues using on-chain mechanisms for artists and for musicians. And a lot of different people have tried. A lot of things have worked. A lot of things haven't worked. Some things like worked but haven't scaled, etc. So I want to have a live stream specifically
I
about
like
this
that.
this conversation with different founders. So think about who you might want to invite to something like that, and let me know. We can plan it for Friday. We have the Far Hack winners coming on Friday, so we can plan after that to do this sort of music focused on chain live stream,
Hmm.
and I can get a few other folks on as well. So think about that, and then I also want to talk about like this Waves product, etc. Like some of these other members of your ZAO who are part of the Hats protocol governance mechanism. How do they all sort of fit into the overall vision of the ZAO? How do you see them contributing? How do you want them to be contributing, etc.?
Yeah,
Like,
amazing question.
yeah, I guess like the last piece of that would be like, do you expect some of these? Let's say I create a product that allows artists to mint their work. Do you expect that platform to take like a very small percentage, and maybe some of that actually goes back to the ZAO, like that to create a sort of sustainable ecosystem?
Wow, really well said. You knocked it out of the park there. We uh, through one individual, one model member of the ZAO, I can say all of those
Yes.
things are actually right on the money. So Wave Wars is our product. It's on-chain online battles that we transformed into an in-person battle for our Zauchella event for Miami Art Basel. We had it in person. We had a rematch of our first battle. Django versus Hurricane, and Hurricane's the one who's come up with this idea for the Wave Wars battles, and for the last 10 months, almost, if not a little bit more than that now, has been working on this decentralized application that will help us leverage our music battles by adding in tokenization during the battle. So for the 10-minute span, we're going to have a prediction market during the battle where you can listen to each person's music. Initially, there's not going to be any kind of stream, but eventually it's going to get to a point where the individuals and artists will be in there being able to talk, and it's going to be a live stream with all the individuals. But the goal ultimately is to help leverage this to help get artists money by just showing up and being a part of some of these events that
Mm.
we're throwing and hosting, right? So um, what Hurricane has also done during the time of becoming a developer has been able to help the ZOW and the ZOW devs, which is one of our other projects that we've created for different developers in our community, to help them get work in different ways. And like you said, one of the things that Hurricane's done is he's working with a company that is helping. He's helping build a lot of their infrastructure, and for that, a portion of their proceeds are going to be coming back to the ZOW, which is really cool to see.
Wow.
And being able to create that and have that impact from what we're building is unbelievable, and it's been a blessing to have Hurricane on our team. And I actually spent a couple weeks out in Costa Rica with him. I went out there in between jobs last year, and it was a couple of the initial weeks that he was starting to code, and it was just a blessing to be out there with him, working with him, working on Wave Wars in different ways and promoting it, and then just like being there, seeing his work ethic, and really being like, okay, we can rock it out together, him, and then there's at least 3 to 4 to 5 to 10 other individuals I could name off the top of my head that have really supported our vision. But he's been a big part of that. Like I said, Candy earlier, and with the two of them, there's also um, there's a lot of individuals that I can't name right now. Adibody has been a big part of the ZOW festivals and taking on a lot of the AV role. He has more years of experience making music than I've been alive, which is really cool to see. And it's just a blessing to be a young founder in this space. Sam has 3 kids, which one of them is a toddler. So it's just like to be able to see all the other individuals with their amount of responsibilities and seeing kind of what we're building and wanting to put their time, effort, and energy towards that is a real blessing. And it's just good to be here with good individuals. And our goal ultimately is to bring that profit margin back to the creators. And that vision is going to continue. And on chain technology and AI also are two amazing levers that we can pull. But the best thing I can always recommend to musicians is make sure you aren't forgetting every single step of the way that comes with being a Web2 musician, right? Because there's a lot of those steps that a lot of individuals miss when they're just dropping music on the blockchain, and there is opportunity missed out on, there are royalties missed out on, right? Like there's these big things that you can lose out on, and potentially some of your IP as well. So it's like understanding the right way to do things is a super important part of the process, and we want to help leverage that, and we want to help teach individuals if they are going to be putting anything out there on the blockchain as much as we can. Let's try and decentralize our data. So let's try and build a smart contract ourselves on our own wallet, on a safe cold wallet as well, that can't uh, be attacked because it's not going to be connected to the internet, right? So just being able to teach these artists how to then build their website and how to put that in the front end, and how to have people buy and sell that, and then ultimately then hopefully have their Web2 individuals buy it by adding in a fiat lever, right? Where we can add in that fiat lever, and then once we add in that fiat lever, if we also add in wallet abstraction, right, and logging in with
Mhm.
wallet, those are two big things that once you get those two things, you can potentially start onboarding your normies, and every single dollar they spend, you are getting. And to me, that is something you cannot leverage anywhere else. And that is why I'm spending all my effort and energy here in this space, in this time with, these amazing individuals that are here at this out with me.
I love it. It could be summed up as long-term games with long-term people.
Yeah,
That's
amazing.
a very, very important place to be, especially when you're trying to like solve this problem. I mean, it's another thing that you touched on was like more or less working forwards instead of working backwards, and that's something like most people in crypto do is they try and create a solution or create a product and don't really know what problem they're solving, right? Like
Yeah.
the problem here in the music industry is like so glaringly obvious. Everyone knows it, and like multiple people are trying to solve it in real
You know
time.
what's crazy?
Yeah, yeah.
The niche of crypto, right, is a niche of finance bros as it
Mhm.
is, right?
Right.
And then the niche of on-chain music is a niche of crypto, right? But just that small niche from crypto to on-chain music, so many individuals that I meet at all these in-person events, online in some different way, in some crypto way, shape, or form, know almost nothing about the on-chain music side of things
Right.
because it's not making money like crazy. It's for collectors, right? That's like one of the biggest problems, right? In the
Well,
end
and
of
to
the
be fair,
day,
there's really only like one big influencer who's pushing music NFTs, as well. So it's like important to have more people talking about this and not like,
yeah, well,
putting all
every
that weight
single
on one
Web2
person.
artist that's come in has gone, right? Like
Right.
that's like, come on, right? Like it's like at a minimum, we have I believe truly that we're not going to see a lot of people make this proper switch from Web 2 into Web 3 and leverage an already existing business in terms of branding for music and where we're at, because I really believe that if you're going to do Web3 community right, you should be using all the Web2 promotion materials, but you
Right.
kind of having it summed in at the start and being able to understand that you want to be able to leverage your community and your fans as part of your staff, and essentially to me creating your customer and your shareholder and your consumer all one stakeholder, right? And like that piece of Web3 to me is a piece that you don't get anywhere else and no one else can do that, right?
No.
Because all of these Web2 artists have signed to a label, have different IP rights given to someone or somewhere else. So we tend to lend to a lot more to those underground artists, helping artists get from 0 to 1. My ultimate goal is to help them get set up, get them antiquate, ready, set up with the system, kind of going on their own path with their own team, right? Like with a ZAO project. Like you said earlier, what's my vision for the individuals in the ZAO? My ultimate vision is that every single individual has that one project in the ZAO that they're heading, that they're the project manager of, that they're kind of organizing and they're helping bring forward the ZAO, what they truly want in this space, and they see that they can use resources from the ZAO as well as different individuals as well. So that's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, I mean, if someone hasn't built this yet, they need to, like, within the ZAO, they need to build like a ZAO matching, so like people who do want to collaborate with other musicians, with other videographers, etc., can just kind of tap in and be like, yo, match me with, like, you could just like check a bunch of boxes, be like, match me with a photographer, match me with a producer, etc., match me with a mixer. I
That's
mean,
a great idea. Could show you my list of 50 ideas that we have in our charters that are like all these like,
who's ready to
okay,
build it?
we could yeah, exactly. So one of the things we've now built as well with the Hats protocol, we've also leveraged a different platform called Charmverse. And
Yes,
Charmverse is what we
familiar.
used to use. If anyone has ever heard of what am I forgetting?
Notion,
Snapshot is what, or sorry, Notion is what
Charmverse,
Charmverse is
on-chain
Web3
Notion.
version of. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. On-chain version of Notion. But what I was going to say is that Snapshot lets you do proposals on chain, and Charmverse lets you do that, but also have all of the benefits of doing project management in Notion. So we have a couple different projects here that you can be a part of. And our goal is to make the Zowverse the Zow hive mind. So, like like you just said, I have a list of some of these ideas, and we're gonna add in Zow matching to this list of ideas. So we
Let's
got a lot
go.
of things we can build, and we can rock in here. I'll
Zao match. Call it Zao match.xyz.
Zow match. I'm gonna go get the domain, and then we'll move it to priority one if I get the domain,
Yo,
right?
let's go.
But essentially, right, we have different proposals here that we can create here, and if we can see one of the proposals here is halfway through, is on the review stage, but you have the community vote. Let me go to a new proposal so that you can see it. But you can actually pick any kind of token that you want. We have a setup template for the ZAO so that you're using the ZAO token that we have. That's our kind of regular basic governance proposal. But the cool thing here that we can leverage is if we onboard different communities, we can also add their token as a way to
Oh,
vote in our proposal, or use ETH, or
okay,
not that
yeah,
that would make any sense, but or use any single token you want, right? So you can add in anything here, which is really cool.
very
And
cool.
being able to leverage that to vote is awesome. And then they also have amazing member directory where you can have all of your members lined up and locked in. Like you said, you can, instead of matching, you can search through, but matching would be an amazing way of,
Yeah, yeah.
uniformly doing that.
I mean, if
And
they
we
already have
also
the
have a forum.
profiles and it has like enough data that we could pull, then easy peasy.
Exactly. And we also have a forum where we have people post asynchronously if they miss the weekly Monday meetings for the fractals, as well as anything else. And then they also have a really cool rewards tab, which we haven't leveraged enough of, but you can essentially offer rewards for different contributions, and you can offer USDC rewards or different other tokens as well, right? So we can offer liquid or illiquid tokens, and there's a whole proposals process, right? So you can see that Falens and different wallet here both applied, and you can see the application process, and you can kind of set that up in whatever way you want. So there's a lot of things you can do here with the Charmverse setup and the way it's created, and it's just been a blessing to be able to leverage these two platforms to really organize what our individuals together. And our goal ultimately is to build our different brands and pieces of ZOW IP that are out there, to just spread the ZOW name as much as we can and bring more people into this. Right, like you said, goal towards music industry on chain, period, right? Like that is a solution for a lot of the challenges, but then also creators as a whole. How can other creators, visual artists, photographers, these other individuals become a part of the music, but then also become a part of these other multimedia structures, like you said, that are out there in the space, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm really glad that you showcased how you're leveraging both Charmverse and Hat. I think it's really good contacts for other people in the space who are thinking of doing the same thing or are trying to do the same thing without those tools. I mean, both those tools are world class comparatively to what else is out there in our space. So it's I definitely agree. I mean, if anyone out there is trying to do anything similar, definitely go check out those two tools. Try them out and let us know how they're working for you. But I mean, for you guys specifically, if you ever want to come on Homebase and let's say you're building out one of these 50 ideas, or I mean, I'm even happy to help contribute some of my time and energy as well. So if you guys ever are like, hey, we know for a fact we want to build this thing, just let me know. We can have a dev on. If you guys already have someone that is building it, just let us know. We can bring you guys on, can build it here live, and then go to market right then and there. It's
Awesome.
very, yeah,
Let's
it's
do it
very,
up. I
that's like
have
the
a
most
couple that
positive.
we're like on right now that we can talk after we're off live a little bit, because there's a couple that I'm building all at the same time. And I actually, okay, I pushed one of my biggest, like, in my opinion, like upgrade, like changes that I've ever done as a non-dev,
Mhm.
right? So I got my electrical engineering degree, hated coding from that side of things, joined Web3, got really
Don't be
interested in
sad.
smart contract coding, but realized all the templates were there. So it was kind of a waste of time of like really diving in and where I needed to be with on-chain music, right?
Yeah, I mean, and if
So
you need to get audited anyways to the
yeah,
nth extent, so
and then I started working with Hurricane, starting seeing him start to become a developer, especially for a project of ours that we're doing, and then see him take on different projects for us at the ZOW and really be kind of our dev in uh, for everything, right? Like right now, because we're building wave boards. But I've been building a Discord bot to help our fractal meetings. We hold them in Discord, and we essentially have that bot. We used to use Telegram because it had a built auto kind of reply feature that had polls set up and an on-chain post kind of created. And we I use this bot to bring that to Discord, so people didn't have to come from Discord to Telegram. So that was a huge win for me. And I just kind of upgraded it today from my local machine to a server, so that's 24/7. So like that was a
Nice.
huge plus, and like now I'm excited to like just tell people to test it and break it and help me make it better, right? So it
Do you have a link?
added to the bot.
Yeah, yeah. Like, how do people interact with it?
Oh, I mean, you would have to join the Discord,
The Discord. Okay,
which
all right.
is under nexus.thezao.com. That has all of our links for every single thing, nexus.thezao.com.
You said that
And
you have like a Telegram bot attached as well.
Discord.
Okay, okay. I must have missed.
Telegram was the one that was created. There is a Telegram bot that's created by the Optimism Fractal team
Got it. Okay.
that we were using, but it was just creating a poll for the group every single week, and it had automated polls created. So I essentially created this so that we didn't have to go over to Telegram to do that automated poll thing, and
Nice.
created that in Discord itself. But I also added a feature where we can essentially type in -zao and any address, and it'll show the Zao tokens there for that. So just like slowly building in these small things that'll help the ease of use in Discord while we actively have meetings every single Monday. So we are very active in Discord. A lot of people say Discord in Web3. People get very turned off by it, which is fine. Like I get that. It is what it is. I've been using Discord since 2016, so like that was a huge part of my leveraging everything I had built and known before coming into Web3 and being like, oh, online communities, this is amazing. I know this. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like with tokens, this is amazing, right? Like because I was also on my like options and that
Weren't we
finance
all?
bro grind, right? Exact
I,
college, right?
actually, speaking of,
Sports gambling. Honestly,
yeah, I mean
sports
that's
gambling before I could message in Warpcast a bot that sports gambles for me. Like, come on, how is that not? First off, how is that not like a completely different level than it was illegal? And
oh
then
right, right.
and then also like I stopped doing that because for me that was like, okay, this is the one part of the finance bro thing I don't want to do because I get carried away. I'm a big mass hole, so like sports is like very passion based, not very analytical based. So like for me it's
Yeah,
not a
not about
good
making
place to
money.
be,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's really cool to see like the places we are in technology, like you literally can be out with friends or whatever having like a cigarette or whatever you're doing and just be like, yeah, fuck it, let's put this much crypto on a game, right? And that's crazy that we're at that point now.
I mean, that's the thing. I never really got into sports gambling just because my edge wasn't really there, and like I don't really enjoy gambling. I enjoy winning, especially like
There you go, Paul.
making money, if anything. So sports gambling, I was way more into options because I was actually profitable. But speaking of, dude, I saw that you're in Theta Chi as well.
Oh my god,
I actually
no
founded the
way.
Theta Chi chapter at my university
That's
at Auburn.
wild. So I dead ass have one of the ideas on here is I really want to leverage what fraternities have created with like little bigs
Yeah,
in
yeah.
brother sister with mentorship in a community where what we could create is like I'll pick like let's say 10 of those folks that I was going to say that I could lead on and say they know the Zao as good as anyone else in their perspective. They could rock it out and teach someone else. I would pick those 10 people. We would rock out and organize a template of how we would organize this team, right? I mean, we would propose it to the Zao and then we would create this team. We would all be on this team and then we would organize how the next set of individuals would come. And then my goal is to have every single individual pick one person to join the next cohort of individuals and kind of keep that moving, but like really create that everything that the fraternities do well with that portion of the mentorship. And then there's also like small other things that I realized that our fraternity did that were just like so good with organization, considering like we were a new organization as well. We were, but like not like super new, like founding it. That's awesome. We were probably like the fourth or fifth year. By the end of it, it
Oh
was the
my God.
seventh year,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So
yeah,
like super new
that's them
compared to
right now.
most fraternities,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, and it was just like seeing how well they were always very good initially at the whole organization thing. They organized their whole fraternity and faster than anyone else has done it. our Theta Chi supposedly had the highest GPAs out of all the Theta Chi's across the US. Although I feel like kind of that was a bogus statistic because there's no way that each chapter a year, like 1 or 2 after I joined, that it stayed that
Well,
way. But at least when I joined, it may have been that
they
way.
had very specific stipulations, at least for us. So like if you had under like a 3.5 GPA, you couldn't even be an active member.
Yeah. So
So it's like
ours wasn't 3.5. That's fucking. Where'd you go?
Albany.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to chat a little bit more about
Yeah,
that. But that's awesome.
UA baby, UA, you know.
Oh shit. Okay, so we got someone chatting saying
I
25
was gonna
points
bring
for
that up.
introducing yourself. So that's awesome. That's
How?
yes. So you
What
just
else
have to
can I
join in
do?
the so basically joining the weekly meetings is the big one right now. We have a couple different things that during those weekly meetings you can get up to 110 ZAO if you're that kind of highest member of the week. Even for just kind of joining that meeting for the first week and introducing yourself, you'll get 110 ZAO. And then with that, you can kind of join the Charmverse, which is just a token gated community with 5 ZAO tokens, kind of set up so that once you get your first ZAO tokens, you can come in here, introduce yourself on the member direct on the forum for introducing yourself, and then start finding ways to earn different rewards as well. Because you can propose an idea. I've proposed in the last like 4 or 6 ideas. I proposed 3 or 4 specific individuals for getting ZAO tokens for doing specific things for furthering the ZAO. I've given recently Songs of Eden and some of the MIDI punks a bunch of ZAO because they helped create 2 ZAO songs. One was ZAO Cella Vibes, which we played up an insane amount. It would be amazing if we could have streamed it and like actually got the numbers because it was our anthem for our event. So we were just playing it all throughout there. And then we actually just recently did a collaboration with them where we had over 20 of the ZAO individuals be able to speak and chat on a song, even if they weren't musicians. And Songs of Eden is such a mastermind that he made that all into a really catchy song. And there's it's called Side by Side, and there's the MIDI punk side and the ZAO side. So the MIDI punks also did it. We unfortunately lost the competition to them. I think they had a 6 or 7 more, 26 or 27, which is insane. So between the two of us, we had around 40 or over 40 different individuals in our communities that were on these 2 songs, which was really cool. So being able to reward individuals for things retroactively like that also is really helpful because it can just be like, okay, this person's clearly creating something cool. Let's rock them out with some extra points. They clearly deserve. They're putting a lot of energy and effort into this thing, and we see that, and that's inherently helping us. So that's kind of some of the things we're doing. But like we're always open for ideas and proposals. So that's my ultimate goal is to get more people to do to be proposing ideas and putting things out there and kind of taking charge of some things as well. I'm always down for that, and I always am excited for people to take responsibility. It's always a good opportunity to give people responsibility and try things out and be able to give them the resources then that they don't have to take that out. And like I said earlier, if that's not the right task for them, find them the right place in the ZAO for them where they can make that impact that they want to make.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's why I think it's really important as people funnel in, and that's even like one of the biggest use cases for new artists and new people who come to ZAO is just finding those like-minded collaborators who they would want to work with. It's so common. I mean, I'm sure you saw it time and time again at Rochester, like musicians who are working on their own thing, but they need a mixer or they need someone else, and they just don't have people in their network that they trust to do it right.
Well, I mean, all of college is like that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's so many up and coming college musicians that want to do things, but like with how much time social takes in college, like just the social atmosphere, you don't have unless you're at a networking or entrepreneurship place or like environment, you don't have the opportunity to find those things. But if you're in Web3 parties or environments like that, you just naturally have that chance of meeting that right person. And the cool thing about it is it's international. This person can be halfway across the globe. You may have never met them, but they can do the one thing you really need to be done, and you can do the one thing that they really need to be done. They're the right collaborator for you. And right now, with the technology we have, we can collaborate, right?
I mean, that's literally what Farcaster does so well, right? It
Yeah.
brings all of us together in such a special way, a global community of people who are just genuinely talented in so many different ways. And you can tap into that talent in whatever way works best for you. And the synergy that it that it creates is just it's unmatched. It really is like OG Twitter in that way.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, one of my favorite things about Farcaster, um, two things. You don't need to authenticate with mini apps. That like assigning in to an account. You don't know how many times I've cursed out my phone when I've opened up an external browser in whatever app, whether it be Discord, whether it be Telegram, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Twitter, right? All of these different social media platforms have their own external browser. And if you need to view anything on anything else, you need to now sign in with their platform, but you're not naturally signed in like most devices, right? So that to
Right.
me is very frustrating of an experience, and getting rid of that friction point to me is insane. And then 2 clicks to buy a music NFT is also really insane off of, or 3 clicks maybe off
Maybe
of your
maybe
social
even one
media
click,
platform.
honestly,
But you
depending.
could probably make it 1 click. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have you have tokens that you can do 1 click. If you make a good, I don't know how they've created that with Frame, because Frames had it, but I think mini apps, you have to open the mini app, right? Do they still have Frame support?
Shit, you might actually no, I
Because
don't
that
think.
was cool. Because
Yeah, I
that is big,
agree.
right? Because that's one less click. Because you have to
Right, right.
open up mini apps for like swapping and stuff, right?
I think that is true. You do have to open up the mini app first, which
So that's a good
they do.
question, Farcaster.
I mean, come on. The fact that they deprecated even that functionality within Frames is surprising to me because, like,
Yeah.
you definitely want people to be able to click in the embed. Like, I mean,
You
that's what
would
they're
you would
pitching.
hope that they're doing something in the back end and
I mean,
building it out, right? So
yeah, yeah. I
that
believe
like
it.
1 click, like just like you said, that 1 click in social frame was why I was initially really interested in Farcaster.
Same. I mean, remember, I don't know if you remember at the time, but Twitter and Elon was literally like, yo, we're bringing Twitter embeds to Twitter. And they didn't say
Yeah,
who
with
but
the soul links, right?
yeah,
The
right
links,
after
right? Or
Frames came
whatever.
out.
Blinks. That's what
Links.
they're called, right? Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
Bro, I
So,
remember hearing that. That's been like 2.5 years or a
yeah,
year and a half, whatever.
exactly. So Frames dropped, and then Twitter was like, yo, we're doing Twitter embeds. And then Solana's like, wait, we got to capture this hype too. So they created Blinks and or Phantom. I believe the Phantom team created Blinks
Huh.
inside of Phantom. But still, like the user experience is shit, and also there's no apps on Solana.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those things work. But
There's no
Farcaster,
like outside of
also
the
going to
casino.
Farcon, I think was a big. Was this your first Farcon, or had you been to a couple
I
others?
ran the first Far Hack last year. I helped run the Far Hack with
Okay,
Dylan last year as well. So this
very
is my
cool.
my second. I was not the one in Boston though.
Dude, I'm super jealous now because Boston's my hometown. So it's
I
like that would have been really cool.
honestly, you just can't pay me to go to Boston. That's just
I love that. No, that's fine. It's the best city, but that's a different conversation. But no, to me, going in person to this event changed my view on how much I need to be on Farcaster for a lot of different reasons. But the primary one was seeing that, like, okay, this is a place that I can straight up leave Twitter and find my engagement here,
Yep.
and it'll be more worthwhile, right? Because there's just less noise. And I also think that
And you
having
can
a
own the data.
generally, yeah, well, oh my God, all those millions, there's, yeah, permissionless, right? Like data, that's insane. Being able to do that all with the mini apps, right? I think being
So
able to
crazy.
own your social graph and be able to take that to other clients. If someone makes a cool client or something specifically that Warpcast does not do, you can create that and bring all of your followers there. All they have to do is download the app and they're all right there. I think that's really cool. Other clients that'll be in the part of the Farcaster network. I also think that Farcaster is doing a really good job with their weekly rewards, right? Where they're doing a really good feedback mechanism loop of just like using their ecosystem, right? Like even if it's a very small transaction, the more transactions they can get on chain, the more legitimate they look, and the more they look like a real social media network, right? And that I think they're doing an amazing job with finding ways to have folks interact on chain, and I think that's beautiful.
That's the coolest part about some of the new mini apps that are coming out is like people are just finding new ways to interact with each other and to interact on chain, and it's incredible. We're finally creating on chain activity outside of gambling, and it's amazing. Of course, there's some of that too. But
Exactly. It's the speculation until 2020, like 2024, or probably 2024. I joined 23. So like end of 2024, maybe there was a couple things that were not just speculation that you could start to bet on. But most things in this space are speculation, and our goal is to leverage speculation but have speculation plus, right? Like
Hmm.
you gotta have something under the hood
Speculation
that
can't be the
is,
product.
yeah, exactly. Boom. There you have it on the head. And a lot of our focus is on reputation, which is a lot of where 99% of crypto's focus is not, right?
Hmm.
It's on making money, which also is, why everyone's going to come to the space and why we have a lot of musicians here. They want to make
Come
money
for
and
the
they want
money,
to make
stay for the
more.
tech.
Exactly, right? So there is that aspect of it, but ultimately I think that's a huge spot. That's a huge side of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's it gets to the point where you really have to kind of just recognize where people are, and we have to meet them there. And like most people aren't at a fucking casino,
Yeah.
So it's just like to sell everyone on Pump Fund first and foremost, and that to be like the top of funnel for crypto is just like asinine. It's a really good business model for Alan and all the other Pump Fund creators, but like outside of them making more money and like it really contributes
So I'll
nothing to
actually
the
tell you one
ecosystem.
thing we're doing that kind of supports that. So one of the things we're creating, one of the projects is called student loans. It's a meme coin. We got rugged by two different blockchains. So now in
Now it's on
different
base.
ways, now we're on base. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we built on base specifically for a reason. We used Flaunch. Have you heard of
Oh
Flaunch?
yes, I have. I actually like Flaunch. I like Flaunch and
Perfect.
I keep a lot.
So I'll give just a quick summary for if anyone's listening back to this or whoever's here. Flaunch gives you the opportunity to take 1% of every single transaction and put it towards your wallet, right? You being the creator of the coin, and you can put a portion of that 1% towards the community as well. And what Flaunch really creates also is an amazing ecosystem for creators to one click but also get some of that reward back to them of the just instead of having to put money into a liquidity pool or anything like that, being able to make money off of volume without putting anything up front up gave us the opportunity, excuse me, to have our launch and have for a $200 $300 in our treasury to be able to give out at different we're calling them loans tank events to help grow the ecosystem, right? So ultimately the beautiful thing is on this platform, because the only way you can make money isn't to sell your tokens, we can create a long lasting ecosystem here and continue to create value. And we have been doing it every single day, daily spaces on X at 11 a.m. Loans on base. Feel free to come in, tap in with Hurricane, tap in with Sam. Both of those two individuals are usually there every day. Hurricane's there every day, cooking it up, building everything that we're doing, and an amazing opportunity to meet an absolute legend. And he'll talk your ear off about a lot of crazy ideas and leave you wondering for the rest of the day. So it's always a blessing to talk to him. And yeah, just kind of keep on cooking. And I think one of the cool things that this platform leverages is the fact that, to make money, your only option isn't selling your tokens.
I'm
Where
really
Solana's key
Yep.
phrase is kind of that.
I'm so glad you brought this up because especially now that Pump Fund, 50% of the rewards now go back to the creator. Now that like Flaunch is
That's only
allowed,
on new tokens, right?
it gotta be. There's no
Yeah,
way.
okay. That's
Yeah,
exactly what someone else said to me. And I was like, it's gotta be, right? Like there's no way they're
half.
retroactively doing
No,
it.
no fucking way.
I don't
Now,
even think you could. So
yeah, first you couldn't, and second, if they wanted to, they would literally just have to give people a portion of their profit margin, which like
yeah,
no
exactly.
company, especially no
Okay. So
degenerate
new
focused company
tokens,
would.
but the issue is pump pump's over, right? Like that's the thing. Like if you're looking in crypto and you understand the concept of markets,
Hmm.
bull bear, and mind share and capital in the space.
And launch coin, for example, like now that Web 2 people are like coming to
Well, just like
compete in the
Clanker, right?
same
Like in
market.
base ecosystem, right? Where now you can do what Soul on Pump Fund was offering when it was the only thing in the market. Now there's all these competitors, and all of them have upgraded UIs compared to Pump Fund.
We also have to remember
So
that Pump Fund really was popularized like because of the live stream thing. Like that's when it went mainstream is because of the live stream thing. And then Black Mirror had to make a fucking episode about it. It was so dystopian. And like that's the kind of stuff that like not only doesn't scale, but just isn't sustainable. Right.
yeah.
So like and if people want to do that,
Well,
they'll just do it on
honestly,
Twitch.
most of the NFTs like ecosystem is like that as well, where it's like, okay, you're getting a lot of upfront capital if it's kind of honestly very similar to a record deal where it's like if you don't leverage this money and think of it as financial capital for your future, and you think of it as I just got a
Jack.
$1 million check, right? And like I can buy it on cars and stuff, and like these depreciating assets, it's like you can't sustain a successful future, and that applies so well with NFT founder, where it's like
Yeah, very
if
well
you
said.
think like okay, like these are profits, oh, I made money off my art, blah 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 blah. It's like okay, but you have also generated this customer appetite, and you can do one of three things. You can aimlessly kind of ignore it is one option. You can um completely ghost everything and like completely create a new identity and have your like shoulder your head over your back all the time, your head over your shoulder all the time, or you can super embrace it, right? And like dig into these super fans that you know are at the top or bottom of your funnel, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it, depending
Mhm.
on whatever pyramid schemes is out there, right? Like at the end of the day, most of crypto is a pyramid scheme, but it's also
Mhm.
like most businesses are a pyramid scheme, but it's like
It just
if it has an underlying
life is
business
epoxy.
at the
Yeah.
bottom of it, right? And you're not selling people on just joining, there's an actual product, right? It's a completely different mindset. And I think being able to have that underlying product of blockchain, the pyramid scheme, right?
Mhm.
Like having underlying product is a key part of being successful in this market.
Right. I mean, we rely on growth so heavily, of course. Like, if people only focus on growth without a product, like, it's not going to end well. But of course, like, growth is the key
And that's
to.
where music is perfect because the beauty of blockchain is we have international borders being broken now, and the music is the language, like an international language. I have a lot of Spanish songs in a couple that I've bought as music NFTs that I don't understand a bunch of the words that are in there, but I fucking vibe with it, right? So it's just like
Literally.
it's I could listen to a lot of different. I actually have a French song as well that I bought. So two different languages that I don't speak that I've bought that I see other people being able to do that. And with the opportunity of breaking international barriers with Web3 and all of these things, I just see like if you put effort into music, a lot of the people in Web3 music, I feel like have felt like they've put so much effort in and haven't got anything out. But I really think you have to go at it with a strategic mind in place and like have that idea of where is the future of what you're doing and where is the energy and time you're spending, and is it in that place where of the future you want to be? Because I think a lot of people get stuck in this Twitter spaces loop, I feel like, of like joining Twitter spaces but then like continuously joining Twitter spaces, and I do think they are good for building community and sharing different ideas and these things. But I think when you find that your energy is all in the same place all at the same time, but you're not moving forward with that,
Mhm.
I think that's when it becomes a problem, right? But
Yeah, I mean, you have to ask, like, where is the value flowing? Like, where is value coming from?
yeah,
And then how are you capturing? And this, like, back to make it full circle, like, this is the conversation artists don't want to have, right? Like, artists just want to be able to create. They just want to be able to do their work. So when you, like, bog them down with, like, hey, like, the label's going to get 60%, and, like, your lyricist is going to get 20%. You're going to get 2%. You know what I mean? They're like, wait, what's going on here?
yeah,
Like, and they're like,
way
oh,
too
no,
late
yeah,
usually.
yeah, you're like, oh, don't even worry about it. Like, I'll take care of the splits. Like, you don't even want to have to think about these things. I got you, you know? And then, like, years later, they're like, how did I get fucked so hard? You know what
Well,
I mean?
that's the thing. Every single fucking person has a musician that has gotten screwed in some way or shape or form, or knows someone very personally that has had that experience in the music industry. So
Exactly.
it's just
If it
like
wasn't by a
it's
label,
a
by a
common
bar,
experience.
or yeah, by a bar, like, you know what I mean? Even at the micro level, just like, oh, I'm supposed to play this live show. And then they said, like, fuck off. I'm not playing anymore, you know?
Yeah. Oh my god. And Web3 happens even more because people don't sign contracts, which is a whole different issue. But
It's
we can
crazy
get.
how common
I
that is.
also think take. I have like a small bone to pick with you, and then we can probably end it off because it's been an hour. I don't know
Yeah,
how long you
let's pick
usually
the
rock it
bone.
off. I do have this idea that I want to share with you off cam that we are trying to build. That I have started a little bit, but I'm like, okay, like if we're gonna really build this, I need a little bit more help. So that would be perfect. And it's honestly a perfect like market right now. And we have people that will sell it and buy it right now. So that I think that's like always the thing. That's like why I really want to build it. But it's just like it's so much time that I don't have like all of it in me. But anyways, I
It's what
had a
we're here
point.
for.
I don't remember it. It
The
was
bone to
amazing
pick.
to be here on home base. What'd you say?
The bone to pick.
Okay, yes. So events, Web3 events.
Oh,
The
yes.
fact that someone can send me a screenshot of a QR code
code, yeah.
invite or an email invite, and I can show that to the person that's at the door, to me is a sign of a bad event, a poorly organized event. Because if you're gonna charge people, I guess if it's free, it's different.
Yeah,
But
I
if
guess
you're
free is
because
totally
that's what we did, right? We had free events and we didn't have anyone at the door, like that,
if it's a
right? Like we
curated
didn't have.
exclusive
But if
event.
you, but if you're
Yeah.
curating an event and you don't go hard on that part, but you're saying like, oh my God, we're all about this Web3 tech, and you're not utilizing, to me, one of the most basic pieces of verifiability. It's like, what are we doing here?
Come on, trust, don't verify.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be cool seeing like more. Every single event that I go to, there's one event that really blows my mind on how they're using technology in a different way that I haven't seen in Web3, whatever spectrum that they're in.
Like
And
a
it's
classic
really
was I
cool.
just saw earlier this week was the good old names on a piece of paper. It's a classic, absolute classic. They just scraped all of our like particle names, put it on a piece of paper, and just walked up, and you're just like, am I on the list? Like, yes or no? I was like, you know what? I remember those days. Those were good times. I mean, I try and host like most of my events as accessible as possible. So I try and just like, if you show up at the door, like let you in if you actually like are here for that reason. But like to your point, I mean, if you're actually trying to do like a well curated event, it's really important that like not only people have very easy access to the event like on that page or whatever it is, but like they actually have like some way to verify that it was them who used that ticket. So when they receive the airdrop, the pull up, whatever, like
Well,
it actually is that person.
the other huge thing is that all of these events that are really well done like that are locked down are supposedly some of the best events usually
Oh,
because they
definitely.
have that curated mentality towards it. People that are there are going to be there for a reason and trying to add to that value. And when you um, see, if you join crypto events in general, you know just the mentality of where we are in a decentralized structure where there's no like one message board, like here's all the things, boom, boom, boom. It's like it's a thing of your network of individuals and being like, yo, what side events are you at? Or just like knowing where other people are that can help you support whatever you're trying to be there, I guess, for the event for. I'm always there for networking. I'm trying to grow our brand. I'm trying to spread our brand in whatever way,
Mhm.
shape, or form that is. So like for me, it's always however many people we can get to. But other than that, like there's also like community members we want to support and these other things. But like you know that that's like the mentality towards everything. So it's always a how can you get me in kind of mentality. So it's like if you can add to that while it's like okay, you can get your people in, here's like the additions to set that up, like be very clear and be also able to curate, like lock down, like okay, if you're not part of this organization, if you're not part of, you haven't gotten this thing right, like actually making it like you can't just get in by getting a screenshot of something. I feel like that like level of thing is something that is very basic at web 2 venues that isn't there in web 3 at all.
No, no, you're right. There needs to be some form of referral, but it needs to be super, super seamless. Like even rough
Yeah.
codes are like not seamless enough, in general. But like if I'm like inviting you, and then you get added like to the wait list, and then like the organizer sees like, oh, this person is being
Yeah.
invited by Zal, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera.
I might definitely add all these people because this person's really close to me, but like that person's they've been invited by someone already. Why would they're not gonna get other people like right? Yeah, no, I do like that. That's a good idea. Ooh,
It's
if
like,
someone build that. That's
yeah, it's
good.
like sending Luma invites, but like, what I mean, anyone can suggest who to send it to.
Would
I
be cool.
I'll think about that because we're actually for Homebase we're working on some level of events platform for like all the in real life workshops we do around the world. So we're trying to figure out how we can make this Homebase map into a more like fleshed out product that people can use, especially for like base events specifically, maybe even white label for other ecosystems. But at first, just like have a place where people within the base community can just like spin up an event and then get distribution for it.
That's cool. I like that a lot. I would love to help. I have a lot of ideas for things we could do to help. There's a
Would
lot of
love to
things
do
that
it,
I'm
yeah.
cool with. Like, yeah, no, I think the more things we can do to support builders like that are amazing. I actually have in some website that it might still be published, but not like on like the website title or front page. But I did have a globe that I was working on that like it would be really cool to have all of our different artists that are across the world be able to add to their globe and like start to slowly build this globe up to where we can show how much over the international waters we are, how many people we have from different countries, but like be able to visually show that, and then for also people to be like, okay, I'm interested in this out. Oh, I'm in this place. Let me see if who's the closest musician to me, right? Like, and then okay, I'm gonna reach out to this person. I want to learn more about in-person Web3, blah 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 blah, right? So it's like I do think that geographical aspect is a huge part of everything. Like I said, in person was how I got into everything. And I think that like really adds that insane amount of additive value to the online game we're playing, because once you meet someone in person, you feel like you're on the same team in this supposed online game, right? In some way, shape, or form. Maybe not. Maybe you're on opposite teams. You realize that very quick, right? But for me,
Mm.
we're all on the same team. We've met now in person. I get, especially if you get a, I don't remember a lot of my conversations with a lot of people, but I remember if I had a good conversation or not with people, or if it was short, right? Like I don't, right? But if I have a good conversation, I'm like, yes, I remember. At this point, I had a great conversation with this individual, and now at any point I see them on the online presence at all, to me, I want to help that individual achieve whatever
Exactly.
they were doing, right?
We need to be more supportive. I mean, even Farcast is a really good example where like people just don't engage as much. But like now that's starting to change, but like people just wouldn't like recast, like reply as much. Like people just like lurk more, which is good at first. But like, I mean, there'll be some days where like everyone on my timeline, I just want to support, and I'll just sit there and fucking
Yeah.
liking everything, recasting everything, just because like this is what people deserve.
This is the first time I've been semi-aware of how many likes I'm giving out, because I recently added using the tip in. Every single like I have will have like 5 cents, which is really cool to me. Like that's another additive that you can't have anywhere else. And I really think that uh before, like now I'm like excited to get on Twitter because I'm like, okay, man, I can literally like every single thing like I'm
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
used to.
I
And
love
like
that. Yeah.
I'll basically use my like as a view and my retweet as a like. So if I like something, I'll retweet it. Sometimes retweet cast and try and comment, because to me, that's just like adding good engagement to that individual. Want to help that person. But then
Exactly.
on
I feel the same.
Parcaster,
Some people are so
it's
stingy with their engagement.
oh my god, yeah. I mean, but that's a whole different issue. But now it's like there's actually a reason to be stingy on my engagement for
Yes,
the likes for the first time.
you're
So now
creating.
I'm like actually retweeting stuff a little bit more. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that or honestly, most of the things I like. But I digress. Now it's for the first time I'm like semi-aware of it, but it's really cool to be like every time my thing has run out and I'm like re-upping, I'm like, okay, bet like this is really cool. Like I am okay with this amount of money being spent on creators that I feel like I'm liking in the ecosystem, that I know 100% of that value is getting to them, or 99.9% of that value is getting to them. So I think that's just really cool to be able to be in this social environment where that's possible.
Right, right. And back to what you're saying, real quick about competition, collaboration, support, etc. It's really interesting because, like, if you're working on something similar in crypto, it's almost more likely people see you as competition. Just like they
Yeah.
would in like Web 2, like just that like traditional mindset of like, oh my God, this person's directly competing with me. Whereas like if you get like don't work in the same realm of crypto, like in music NFTs is a really good example where like a lot of people like do feel like that innate competition, even though it's everyone growing the same
Yeah.
pie. So just like it really takes like you have to take a step back and really realize like this is not the zero sum game that you think it is, and like you are here building a positive sum game. And if like you're a founder that thinks like you win when someone else loses, like you're actually fucked. Like you don't
Yeah.
realize how
Oh,
fucked you
million percent. Because
are.
well, it's just like I mean, if you understand how many developers there are in blockchain versus everything else,
Was it
like just that
20,000?
percentage,
I'm trying to remember
right?
the electric capital statistic.
Yeah, very just like relatively small. It's just like you realize we're part of such a small ecosystem that if you are fighting over the same thing, you have every other person growing their 1% instead of fighting over the same 0.1%, right?
Mhm.
And it's like that in and of itself is like, okay, if you're gonna like team up with these people innovating different ideas, for me, it's like before I came into space, I would have thought Ethereum was a competitor to what I'm doing. Then I saw Ethereum and I was like, bet I don't have to learn how to create a whole ecosystem for smart contracts. Then I was
Exactly.
like, oh my goodness, this gas is a lot of money. And someone has L2s. It's like, I don't think I'm going to create my own L2 immediately off the bat. Right. So it's like, okay, cool. I can use this L2. I can spin up a thing on the blockchain with very minimal gas.
Well,
Okay. Now there's this platform that sells music NFTs. It's like, okay, like, so it's like every time you go down the tech stack, right, you can choose to leverage different things and you can choose to build your own pieces of that, right? And I think what's really cool is like if you choose to leverage other people's things, you help build network effects.
I mean, just think about it, dude. If we didn't fragment liquidity and people weren't incentivized to spin up their own L1, because it's they can extract max value, and they just like built on Ethereum instead, like we would already have consumer products people use like on the daily that aren't fucking casinos, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like incentives were so financially misaligned just because people realized that they could scam boomer investors on selling them an L1 instead of just building out what already exists, and just like continuing to build the infrastructure that we need. It's ridiculous, man. That like it's
it's
taken
extractive and exploitative behavior versus, like I said, the regen culture
creating
that
value.
we need.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
So yeah, no, dude, it was amazing being here. It was awesome chatting with you. A blessing being
Thank you
here.
so much for
Let's
joining.
definitely chop it up. I have a couple things we can chat about, and we'll invite some other base builders here and try and get you to have some of the other Zao folks that are doing really cool things on Adibodies, cooking it up. They made the Stay Based album last year where they made a Stay Based song, and then they had like 8 people remix it. So that was a blessing to have out there. And Django, one of my artists, made a remix, and every time I hear that, it's always a really big like, okay, this is like a really cool thing that has done in this space that like I can talk to someone about, and like they can see it. They could have done like the whole remix thing, but they don't get the concept of like I can say that Django has over 500 mints because of all of that, but he has done very minimal to like really push anything other than in-person events and a little bit online of his Web3 persona. But like he is now, because of being part of this remix competition and a part of this whole network of what we've created or what Adibody and Losi had created, being able to have that and being able to have that proof on chain is a really cool like starting point for him to be like, oh wow, like these many people like my music because it was part of this, but like really fuck with it. So they also bought it, right? So being able to find more base builders to come over here would be awesome.
Fuck yeah. 2 things. Music founders for session on Friday perhaps, and then let's have some Zao builders come on whenever you want and we'll build live together.
Perfect. Friday session. Do you know what time?
Plan for 4 p.m. EST.
Okay. That should work.
All right, perfect. If anything changes, I'll let you know on that ASAP.
Perfect.
All
How
right,
do you
thank
pronounce your name? Is it
Luciano.
Luciano?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Perfecto.
Okay. I love it. Amazing chatting, Luciano. And it was amazing being here at Homebase, chatting about the Zao. Excited to chop it up more in the future.
All right, and everyone listening, if you have any legal issues, you better call Zal.
There you go. Boom. Music issues. On chain. If you need to get on chain, that's what the tagline needs to be.
If you
I need to figure
get
that part
on,
out. But
better call
that
Zal.
would be an amazing like end to all the videos. I should really be doing
that is good. Yeah,
I'm
I mean
not
it's
gonna lie.
too easy not to.
Yeah, it
it's
really
too good.
My thing is like I don't want to get sued and then have to change the name, but I also think that getting sued in and of itself would be an amazing part of the lore of everything we're building, right? Like so, it's like having that letter to me. I would mint that. I mean, I wouldn't do it on Zora, but I would mint it, right? And I would like that to me is like that's a moment to mint. I digress.
That's great. I love it.
But yeah, no, I should lead it to that more. I appreciate that advice.
Definitely should. Yeah, it's good branding.
Cool.
All right, boss. I'll catch you hopefully on Friday.
Awesome. Cheers.
Peace out. Thank you all for joining us today. Another amazing session of Homebase. We will see you all back here on Friday. Thanks again.